Bandpass RC filter analysis. Analysis of a simple passive bandpass filter. In previous video lessons, we analyzed a first-order passive low-pass filter and a first-order passive high-pass filter. What happens if we combine these two filters? Would they cancel each other out? Well, not exactly, Dud. Here's an example where the cutoff frequencies are the same. The gains need to be multiplied, which yields this red dashed line. So all frequencies are attenuated, except in this middle region. I suspect that if the two cutoff frequencies are far apart, we would get both high-pass and low-pass filtering behavior. That's right, Sean. I show that case here. Very low frequencies are blocked out, and so are very high frequencies. But there's the pass band in the middle. That's why we call this a bandpass filter, which we'll now analyze. We construct it by putting the high-pass filter in series with the low-pass filter. Here the left side is high-pass, and the right side is low-pass. What if we put the low-pass filter first? Good question, Ned. It turns out that the order doesn't really matter. Me and Duck will demonstrate. See, no difference. Great analogy, Duck and Dick. Notice that we use subscripts H and L to distinguish the high and low pass filter parts. We also ground this filter at the bottom. And I note that we'll use Vout and VL interchangeably, since they're equal. We'll analyze this two ways. For the simplified analysis, we analyze the two halves of the circuits independently, and for the general analysis, we analyze them all as a unit together. The previous cutoff frequencies are shown here for the high-pass and the low-pass filter. The simplified analysis is useful only if the high cutoff frequency is much smaller than the low cutoff frequency, and we need to set the resistors wisely, and I'll clarify why this is necessary later in the video. Let's do the simplified analysis. We assume that output voltage VH is not affected at all by that low-pass filter to its right. Similarly, VL is not affected by what happens with the high-pass filter. This is the gain we had previously for a high-pass filter, and that gain acts on Vin, the input voltage supplied to the high-pass filter. Here's the gain for the low-pass filter, and that gain acts on VH. We get the overall gain by multiplying these two gains. We also treat phase shifts independently. Neither half of our circuit affects the other half, and for phase shifts we need to add the two. Let's do an example. Suppose we have a desired voltage signal at 100 Hz, but we have some pesky noise at 1 Hz and at 10 kHz. We want to attenuate the noise without affecting the 100 Hz signal. Here's our first-order RC bandpass filter as I described above. I pick this capacitance for the high-pass filter and this resistance, giving us about 6.37 Hz as our cutoff frequency. I assign this capacitance for the low-pass filter and this resistance, yielding almost 1600 Hz as our low-pass cutoff frequency. I'd say these qualify as very far apart, so our simplified analysis should be good. I also assigned amplitudes, 2 volts for the signal, 0.25 volts for the low frequency noise, and 0.25 volts for the high frequency noise. Here is a time plot from 0 to 1 second. The input is in blue and the output in red. The high pass half of the circuit has greatly reduced the low frequency 1 Hz noise. The red output doesn't wave at 1 Hz like the blue signal does. But we can't really see the noise, so let's zoom in by a factor of 10. Here's the trace from 0 to 0.1 seconds. It's still hard to see that very high frequency noise, so let's zoom in another 10x. Here I show the plot from 0 to 0.01 seconds, and we can clearly see that our RC filter has done its job. The desired 100 Hz signal is largely unaffected. We greatly attenuated the low frequency noise, as I showed previously. The overall gain for the 1 Hz component was about 0.155. And with this plot, we can also see that we greatly attenuated the high frequency noise. The overall gain there is about the same, 0.157. Here are our Bode plots for this simplified analysis. Note that we used actual frequency instead of f over f cutoff, because now there are two cutoff frequencies. Our desired 100 Hz signal is in the middle. And note that I chose R and C carefully so that the desired frequency lies in approximately the middle of the pass band. Here's our low frequency noise and our high frequency noise, and I label the high cutoff frequency and the low cutoff frequency. At our desired signal of 100 Hz, the gain is nearly 1 and the phase shift is nearly 0. If the high and low cutoff frequencies were even farther apart, we'd get a wider band here, and we'd get a flat region here where phi is 0. Now let's do the general analysis, noting that our simplified analysis is only approximate. The reason is that current flows through all these components, so the high pass portion and the low pass portion are coupled. And recall, when we analyzed these high pass and low pass circuits independently, we assumed an infinite impedance for the output measurement. In other words, it draws no current. But in our combined circuit, there is a current flowing across this node. That's one of the reasons why our simplified analysis is just an approximation. For proper analysis, we have to use complex variables. I redraw the bandpass filter using phasors for voltage and complex impedances. We can analyze this using Kirchhoff's circuit rules and Ohm's law, and we're dealing with complex phasors for voltage and current. To start our analysis, we'll use Kirchhoff's current law. At this node, ICH coming in must equal IRH going down plus IRL going to the right. Similarly, at this node, IRL coming in must equal ICL going out. And here we do assume that the output voltage is measured by a device with infinite impedance, so no current flows here. Now we apply Ohm's law for the general complex case. Vin minus ICH ZCH must equal VH, and we solve for ICH. Similarly, VH minus IRL ZRL equal VL, which yields this equation for IRL. Ohm's law here also gives us this expression for IRH, and here for ICL, where we used our ground knowing that V is 0 here. We combine all these equations to eliminate the currents, and we get these two equations in terms of the two phasor voltages and the impedances. We combine these two equations to get an expression for the output ratio V out to V in, which is the same as VL over V in, as I mentioned previously. Here's the expression I get, leaving everything in terms of impedances, which we now must assign. Here's the impedance for the capacitor in the high pass filter portion, and similarly the resistance. We also assign the low pass capacitor and resistor. We can now calculate gain and phase shift using the procedure I described previously. Namely, we split V out over V in into real and imaginary parts. The magnitude will be the gain, and the phase shift is the arctangent of the imaginary part over the real part. The detailed calculations are rather complex or tedious, and I'll leave those for the students to do on their own. Now let's redo our example problem. We'll analyze the same circuit with the same components, but with the general rather than the simplified analysis. Here are the Bode plots that I get. The simplified analysis is in blue, and the general analysis in green. Again, here's our desired frequency, the low frequency noise, and the high frequency noise. Notice that the gain in the band is not 1. It's in fact close to a half on this log-log plot. The phase shifts also differ significantly, although they're similar in shape. I'll show only the close-up time trace. Again, input blue, output from the simplified analysis in red, and now output from the general analysis in green. Both analyses have significantly attenuated the noise. However, the amplitude of the desired frequency at 100 Hz has also been attenuated, which is not what we desired. This is consistent with our Bode plot, where the gain was about a factor of 2 off. How can we avoid this problem? Well, the attenuation is due to this current flowing at node VH. Let's try modifying the R and C values for the low pass portion so that they don't draw as much current. Here's our original R and C values. But a resistor of 10 ohms draws a significant current, so let's increase it by a factor of 10 to 100 ohms. This higher resistance will reduce the current draw. To keep the cutoff frequency the same, we decrease CL by that same factor of 10 to 1.0 microfarads. Thus we get the same cutoff frequency as we had previously. Here are our Bode plots for the revised example problem A, simplified in blue and general analysis in green. Now the results are much closer to each other. Since RL is now drawing less current, the simplified analysis is less of an approximation. Can we get even more agreement between the two analyses? Well, for revised example B, let's further modify the low-pass filter component values. These are the values we had for the previous example, revised example A. A 100 ohm resistor still draws significant current, so let's increase RL by another factor of 10 to 1,000 ohms. That should even further reduce this current, and again we'll decrease CL by the same factor, so that when we calculate the low cutoff frequency, it's the same as before. Here are our new Bode plots, simplified in blue and general in green, and the green covers up the blue. These plots are nearly indistinguishable. Since the larger RL draws very little current, our simplified analysis works great. In summary, we put a high-pass and a low-pass filter together in series to generate a bandpass filter. Our simplified analysis treats the two halves separately and independently, which is an approximation. The general analysis of the entire circuit must be used to account for the coupling between the two halves of the circuit. This analysis involves complex variables, phasors, and Kirchhoff's general circuit laws. We did an example using both analyses, and we found significant differences between the two for our first set of resistors and capacitors. But larger resistors resolve the issue. By the way, that's why you typically don't find small value resistors like 10 ohms in circuits like these. In a future video, we'll show how if we add op-amps, the simplified analysis is even more useful and applicable. The filters discussed here are passive filters. When we add op-amps to the circuits, we call them active filters. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. 1, 2, 3. That's all there is to it.